At the University of Chicago, being an urban serving university, our connection to the city of Chicago and cities more broadly is really part of the fabric and the DNA of the university. And we're continually searching for ways to build upon that relationship and think about how we can bring our research and talent and scholarship to address some of the most pressing needs and the greatest opportunities that exist in cities. So one of the things I hope comes out of this week's and today's event is to form new partnerships with the University of Chicago and the various cities that are here represented today. Our work has had a great influence in the city of Chicago in a number of areas, including education through our Urban Education Institute, which has really helped to shape the way the public schools in Chicago and throughout the state are looking at urban education. Also on the health side and issues of health access and preventative medicine through the Urban Health Initiative out of our medical center, and in crime through the University of Chicago Crime Lab, which has done some really groundbreaking research on programs to address youth violence, one of which, the Becoming a Man program, led to a citywide effort and the My Brother's Keeper initiative that President Obama recently announced. An area, though, that we also have been focusing a lot in the last decade is around innovation and entrepreneurship. And you're going to hear from our next speaker momentarily about that effort. And the idea at the university is how can we think about the research, the scholarship, the technological development that's happening and get that work into the public, into the communities, into cities to have an impact on urban America. We opened up last fall the Chicago Innovation Exchange, which is a center that brings together people from the university community with the private sector and the city and the nonprofit sector to think about startup new companies, new products, new technologies, and we're very proud of that. And the leader of the Chicago Innovation Exchange is John Flavin, who's going to be our first speaker this afternoon. John has 20 years of experience as an entrepreneur, starting up a number of companies before he came to the university. His last job was actually to found and direct Chicago Innovation Mentors, which is an innovative program that partners entrepreneurs throughout the city with researchers at universities across the city to help them get their research ideas into products, into companies that can form new ventures. He's been leading the work at the university, but is also very plugged into the innovation scene, both in the city of Chicago and the region and nationally. So we're very excited to have John speak to you all today. And without further ado, please welcome John Flavin.
Thanks, Terry. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon's discussion. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm very excited to talk to you about innovation nationwide, really, and start to create a backdrop for my discussion, first nationally, and then bring it back to Chicago, and then focus a little bit about the University of Chicago and the Chicago Innovation Exchange in our response to what I'll describe as a crisis. If you think about it, the Great Recession was and still is a crisis. And that crisis impacted the U.S. in many different ways. Back in 2008 was the pinnacle of when things kind of exploded and kind of fell apart. And when that happened, it impacted everybody around the country and even globally. And it impacted people in a very different way than in past recessions, and still is. And what I think that is unique about what's coming out of that recession is a cultural shift across the country. And that cultural shift has moved from a corporate focus to a focus around the individual, and the individual with talent, and the focus around innovation. So when the recession took place and the impact occurred on individuals and jobs were being lost, the fighting spirit of the American people began to take root. And we're in the early stages of the re-engineering, the rebuilding of the American city, because it's the American city that is the centerpiece for where innovation can occur and accelerate. Because innovation needs to be around people, it needs to be around other assets, it needs to collaborate. And so you look at innovation cities that have been with us for many years, that roll off the tongue. that also responded to crises. You think about Palo Alto in California, you think about Kendall Square in Cambridge, Massachusetts near Boston. And they each responded to crises. As the defense sector pulled out post-World War II, they were left with vacant spaces. And what would they do with them? How would we create and bring in economic development and have jobs come to this area? And we look at those cities today and we think that they've always been that way, that the Silicon Valley of today was always that way. No, it was a response to a crisis. And what you see today happening is across the country, the development of new ecosystems in other innovation cities. Things happening in Pittsburgh, things happening in St. Louis, things going on in Cleveland and Columbus. You're hearing a number of different things happening today. And I think there's similar stories across the country as to how innovation and entrepreneurship is coming forward. So when this pain came upon us in the United States, the American people responded with the fighting spirit. And so it's appropriate that I quote the famous philosopher and boxer Mike Tyson when he talked about being punched in the face. Everybody has a plan until you've been punched in the nose. Okay, that's entrepreneurship. That's the response to the recession. And when you think about it, we have to then organize ourselves as cities to be able to help the individual empower themselves. So in the empowerment process and this shift from the corporate culture or feel to one of risk-taking and undertaking new ventures, we need to retool the individual as they move forward and try to make an impact. I think about all our cities. All our cities today are beneficiaries of great corporations that exist, that were built over many, many years. So we're strong in many different distinct areas across the country. And the same can be true in Chicago. As I look at Chicago, it's responding with the fighting spirit as it grows as a global city. And it does it and is doing it in a fashion where we have, in different parts of the city, different types of strengths. Mainly focused around our assets coming out of our universities. We're blessed in Chicago with many great innovators and as well as great corporations. But what I see happening in the recent past is excitement and energy and almost hyperactivity by new students, faculty, entrepreneurs that want to start a business around their idea. But allowing them the framework, putting them close to the resources, connecting them to venture capitalists, to programming, to aspects to how to commercialize their idea is the task at hand. So it's reorienting the way that we educate and support the new American worker so that in the next 20, 30, 50 years, we've re-engineered, using innovation, the opportunity to create jobs, to have economic impact. And in Chicago, with Mayor Emanuel putting the charge to our city that we want to be a global destination for entrepreneurship and innovation, we look around the city and you see pockets of density. Density is a key ingredient to innovation and job creation and entrepreneurship. Because again, when you're starting something, think about it in your own areas. You need to develop relationships, trust, understanding, and you need to be close to people to do that. So in Chicago, there's pockets of density. One of the things that's happened in the last couple of years is the emergence of a new innovation network made up of distinct nodes with different types of skill bases. So one such place is an innovation hub called 1871, focused around digital tech in the Merchandise Mart downtown. And that's created critical mass around programming talent. People like to live, work, and play in the same spot. So in the case of 1871, that's River North. It's brought a lot of talent to that area. New entrepreneurs building businesses in 1871. And by the way, 1871 is the year of the Great Chicago Fire. Again, I look at 2008 as the new 1871. It's the chance to build again. It's the chance to rekindle the fire, if you will, and really take on that spirit and move toward building the next big corporation, but beginning today with the pieces that we have in place right now. But 1871 is focused geographically in the center of the city, and it's really domain-specific around digital tech. What's happening right now is the emergence of follow-on innovation hubs, one of which is the Chicago Innovation Exchange, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, but others popping up. A biosciences center downtown called Matter, one on the west side called the Health Technology Institute, and Northwestern University is building a place called the Garage. These are all pockets of density within the city that are concentrated around talent, and focus around core areas of technology or expertise. Now, the Chicago Innovation Exchange is distinct in the sense that, number one, it's in a neighborhood. It's not on the 12th floor downtown in the city. It's on the south side. There's great opportunity. What I see on 53rd Street in Hyde Park is the beginnings of the next Kendall Square. You see opportunities for growth. You see concentration of talent. And this talent is really diversified across the University of Chicago landscape as well as local entrepreneurs. So we're developing programming. We want to weave ourselves into the fabric of the neighborhood. If we're going to be successful as a model for innovation and catalyzing economic stimulus and growth, and people looking to us for that model, we have to be successful in our own backyard. So being part of the neighborhood. Programs like U Chicago Local, where we're building capacity for entrepreneurs in the area that are providing goods and services to the university, teaching them through acceleration programs how to expand the scale of their business. At the same time, providing the capability and programming for our outstanding scientists who are under pressure. Again, when I think about the Great Recession, 2008, it's almost like the world was in a snow globe, and it was shaken up, and the snow is still settling. And as those parts settle to the ground, we're seeing the reemergence and reorganization of where things start moving forward. And it's clearly in the cities, and it's clearly concentrated around origins of innovation. So universities can be the anchor tenant, just like you find in Pittsburgh or in Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area. The University of Chicago, Northwestern, University of Illinois, and other great universities in the area are the anchor pieces, the seed crystals for the re-innovation of what Chicago will be. The great job creation centers around technologies, opportunities, education, where these universities are very strong. And as you do this, you start to attract capital. You attract capital, you attract talent. And as you think about your cities, you're really designing yourself to be attractive to talent, the individual, the empowered vigilante that wants to go out and start a business by themselves. But again, just like I talked about with being punched in the nose and not having a plan, it'd be nice to have a place where you could find sparring partners. And the Chicago Innovation Exchange offers that through mentorship, through programming, through connections to the marketplace. We just signed a partnership with Cisco. Cisco is very interested in accessing our scientific capabilities in big data, data analytics. They're really big in working with the city of Chicago as a place where they can advance some of their technologies as an innovation center around data analytics, connected devices in the built environment, smart cities, if you will. And this is a great joint program where we have an incubator in place where we're able to accelerate and translate the ideas of our faculty, students, and entrepreneurs from the neighborhood and access the Cisco landscape to test the ideas that we have. One of the challenges that universities have had in the past is they're very good at doing research, but how do I translate that idea into a product that can be marketed? You need the outside marketplace to opine and direct the work so that you can figure out what the pain point is in the market, so that someone will buy your product. And the Chicago Innovation Exchange and other innovation hubs like this around the country are enabling that to occur. So I think that what you're going to find over the next several years is a very exciting transition. We're at the beginning stages of the rebuilding of the ecosystems. And these ecosystems are being oriented and driven by the individual, the vigilante entrepreneur that wants to move forward. And as I said, part of this is harnessing the hyperactivity around students, faculty that are pressurized, that need new options. PhDs aren't likely to stay on in faculty because government grants aren't there to do it. So they got to commercialize their ideas. Law students probably aren't going to go work for a large law firm because the law business is changing. MBA is the Booth School of Business now. The second highest concentration of students is in entrepreneurship. People are empowered. They want to do something about their future. So I'm very excited about the Chicago Innovation Exchange, how it fits into the global destination of entrepreneurship and innovation in the city of Chicago, and how that's impacting America's resurgence over the course of the next 30 to 50 to 60 years to re-engineer the way we think about impacting our global environment. Thank you very much for your time and attention.